Hey guys, good evening. Am I audible loud and clear? Anybody with a thumbs up, please? Thank you so much for joining in. Hi Rashmi. Thank you so much for that update. Hi Vandana, good to see you here. So this is our post Diwali, the post festival weekend, and very slowly everybody is easing back into a normal weekday. It's a little difficult, but yes, we are all trying our best. I hope everybody had a wonderful Diwali celebration and a beautiful Bhai Dooj. So a belated wish on a great Diwali and a fabulous year ahead to all of you from the whole Rachna Restores team. Hi everyone. So lovely to see all of you here. A very good evening and a very warm welcome to yet another Rachna Restores Awards live series. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Dr. Bhavna Gautam. I'm a holistic health consultant and emotional well-being coach and a partner with Rachna Restores. Through these series of lives, we introduce our thousands of followers on Instagram, on Facebook, to our dynamic nominees, our generous sponsors, and our super partners for the Restore Awards, which is on December 11th. Please mark these dates, guys. For those of you who are new to our handle, we are in the second year of the Restore Awards. And all our followers know that these awards are our way of celebrating all the impactful, the heartfelt, the sensitive and sustainable work which is happening in the fields of health, wellness, environment care, preventive care, community support. You can nominate yourself, or if you know somebody who would fit into these categories, you can nominate them. I will tell you the categories in a short while. Some of our interesting categories this year are Health Innovator of the Year, Pioneering Health Social Enterprise, Sustainable Product, Sustainability Vision, Health Warrior Beyond Boundaries. We have Healer Beyond Boundaries, Health Warrior Beyond Limits. We have Healing Home Chef, and our very special medical category for all the pandemic support warriors. Now, I'm very excited to let all of you know that this year we are getting very unique, very impressive, very motivating nominees, and I'm sure our judges are going to have their work cut out for them. A little later in the live, I'm going to tell you who our esteemed jury members are for this award. Coming back to the topic of today and our guest for today. Today, my guest is a scientist who is also a product developer for a leading personal hygiene brand called Savlon. Everybody knows Savlon, which is owned by the ITC Group. Now, along with her super skills with the microscope in the lab and working with cultures and working with DNA sequence data, this multifaceted, brilliant woman is also an avid home gardener and a masala magician. So please welcome me in, please help me in welcoming Dr. Deepa Murli. Dr. Deepa, are you with us right now? If I could see her here. Yeah, actually somebody just corrected me. We are lakhs on the Facebook, our followers. We've actually gone into lakhs. Yes, my mistake. Okay, so I am still waiting to see Savlon join in. So while Dr. Deepa is going to try and connect with us, I would like to tell you that these awards are not just related to any specific field or related to any specific work. The idea is that we are considering any impactful work, especially during the pandemic times, which have been so difficult for the entire community globally. We are looking for people who, in their own small ways or big ways, are trying to make lives better for people around them. So whether they are impacting anything in healthcare or in education or child's health or elderly care or environment care or sustainable living, anything which in the end is translating into a good life for all of us, become part of our nomination list. I am still going to look for Savlon and our guest, Dr. Deepa. I don't see her here yet. Thank you so much, everybody who's taken time out on a Monday evening to be part of this. I guess some of you would still be on holiday mode, some of the lucky few. We are checking, guys. We are trying to get them on board. Okay, what I'm going to do is very quickly take you through our nomination categories one more time while we are waiting for Dr. Deepa to join in. These categories have been very carefully designed to be very inclusive, very diverse, to take into account all kinds of work related to wellness, whether it is wellness in person, wellness of the environment, wellness as a community, wellness of organizations. So some of our categories are: number 1, Health Innovator of the Year. We have Pioneering Health Social Enterprise. We have Sustainable Products in Lifestyle category. We have a Sustainable Vision for organizations. We have Health Warrior Beyond Limits, who have gone beyond their own limitations and created a better world for those around us. We have Healer Beyond Boundaries. We have Healing Home Chefs, a fantastic category, and our very, very special medical category that we've introduced this year for all those who have worked as the pandemic support warriors in the field of healthcare. There is so unlike a lot of awards, these awards are completely going to be monitored by an independent jury. There is no fee to be part of these awards. We want more and more people to get a platform, to get a visibility for all the beautiful work that's going around. There are awards happening in a lot of verticals, and we believed it's high time that health and wellness got its due credit too, because there are so many people doing such wonderful work. There's such beautiful innovation happening, and I think it's time we start recognizing those efforts, however big or small, because in the end, it's all these small efforts which are put together to create that one big gigantic wave of wellness. And one thing I think that the pandemic has taught us is that your own wellness, then the wellness of the community, and then the global wellness or the wellness of the earth are together going to be your biggest defense mechanism against not just COVID, but practically any infectious disease. You can't ignore it anymore. Do we have anybody joining in? So our nominations are still on, guys, till the 30th of November, sorry. And you can nominate yourself, or if you know of somebody out there who is actually doing this work, whether it's an individual, a small group of people, or an organization, a for-profit or a not-for-profit, if you know any such work happening out there, please feel free to nominate them. You can go on our website www.rachnarestores.com for all the details related to the awards. I don't see yet let me try and yes, so I have with me Rachna. That's a wonderful surprise.
Hi,
How
Bhavna.
do
So I
you
think there is some technical issue with the
technical glitch? I thought it.
Savlon India handle, and
Yes.
we have sent a message to their team. So I thought till the time that Dr. Deepa joins in from the Savlon India handle, we can share with everyone how much Savlon has helped us with these awards and
Yes.
spreading this message of home hygiene. It's really close to my heart.
I'm sure.
Yeah. I
I've
just
been to a home and I can understand how personal home hygiene would be,
yeah,
including Aradhana, by the way, right? I mean,
yes,
and jokes apart, I think it has to be your own wellness is not complete unless the wellness of your own space is also taken care of.
yes. And a clean home, today, what today, 20 years, 40 years, 100
Yeah,
years ago, a clean home means less diseases, less germs, higher immunity. We've all learned this as kids.
we all have. We all have.
Yeah,
It's just that
yeah.
I believe just because there were a lot of medicines available and a lot of doctors available, I think we forgot that health primarily still has to be our responsibility, right?
Oh,
Not
yes,
your general practitioners and your
yes,
doctors and the medicines, you know. And
absolutely.
I think on the scientific level too, if you want to reduce the amount of antibiotic resistance which is happening,
Yeah.
start taking care of your basic wellness.
Absolutely. And it's so much easier now to have home
Yeah,
hygiene in place than it was earlier. So,
it
so
exactly,
yeah,
exactly. I
yeah. So
agree.
as someone who follows it, we just,
Yeah,
that we just shifted residence, and as someone who follows it, I will tell you my personal experience. We are waiting for Dr. Deepa to join in to
yes.
share her expertise with us. But, just having a clean home it just means less sneezing, less colds, less coughs, less
Okay,
transmissions.
I think Rachna Savlon India has joined in.
Perfect. So I will now log out. So you just get
We'll
them.
miss you though, and yes, yes, we'll catch up again on the live.
Yes,
Let me
yes,
first
yes. No,
quickly
no.
get
I'm dying to
Savlon.
listen to what Dr. Deepa has to say, so that we can all
Yes,
add it in our daily lives. So I'll
definitely,
give her.
definitely.
Yes. Okay. Okay.
I have sent, and I think the connection just logged out again. Yes, I have them live with me. I think there is a bit of a technical issue. They keep dropping out. So every time I accept, we are going to try one more time, guys. And I'm really grateful for everybody out there who's being so patient. Thank you so much. Uh, I don't seem to see them here. So Savlon, guys, by itself does not really need an introduction. I think as a home care, as a personal hygiene product, we are all aware of what Savlon is about. And the reason why we are talking about Savlon today is because they are our wonderful partners for the Restore Awards. And it always feels great to be supported in your little endeavors by beautiful brands like Savlon. I think we are still facing a bit of a challenge with getting them to connect live because I think the live just keeps dropping off every time they try to join in. We will keep trying. Okay, so in the meanwhile, why don't I quickly tell you about our esteemed jury members. I am trying one more time since I saw the request. Yes, so like I was saying about our jury members, I think there's still a connection issue. So our jury members are firstly independent completely, and they are experts and leaders from different industries across. We have Ms. Sunita Mohanty, we have Dr. Taruna Madan, we have Mr. Subrata Datta, we have Mr. Nazeeb Arif, we have Ms. Hiru Mirchandani, and Mr. Ratan Chalan. Some of them are bigwigs, and we are very, very proud to have them on board with us. A big thank you to them for, again, taking time out of such busy and hectic schedules and being part of this wonderful endeavor of ours. I think there is still there still seems to be a technical glitch, and we are really, really trying hard to get all of you to join into a very engaging discussion, a very something which is relevant to the current times that we live in. So thank you for showing your patience, guys. I am trying to get them to join in, but the connection again keeps dropping off. We live in the times of these uncertain virtual setups, so there's not much that you can do except for cross your fingers and wait patiently. No, I think there is some technical glitch which is not getting corrected. So while we are trying and retrying to connect with Savlon and Dr. Deepa Murli, let me also tell you some of our other wonderful co-partners, our gift partners, our venue partners. So some of our other partners are Piyama, we have SRL Diagnostics, we have Dermapic, we have Organic India, Radio City is one of our partners, we have Himalayan Natural Mineral Water as one of our partners, and our venue partner is ITC Maratha. So venue, because this time we plan to have a live award ceremony. While it's also going to be telecast on the social media to lakhs of our followers, we are going to have a small gathering also happening at ITC. So for those who are spread far and wide, do take time to join us on our social media handles on 11th of December to be part of this wonderful initiative. I think we can see the struggle happening with the digital live. So
absolutely, yeah. So I just thought till I think Dr. Deepa is.
Yes, Dr. Deepa, I can hear you loud and clear.
Wow.
I would love to see you.
We can't see.
This has been some
learning, right? So you are where I was 6 months back, Dr. Deepa. Let me tell you. So Rachna will vouch for it.
So Dr. Deepa,
oh, there we go. Wow.
Yay, there you are.
Great. All right. So let me just set this down so that I have my hands free. Yeah.
No problem.
Yes, so good too. So I can completely relate with your struggle. Dr. Deepa, you'll have to probably make your phone.
Just give me a minute. Just give me
in the portrait mode. Yes, in the portrait mode, straight.
Yeah.
No, you need to change the camera.
I'm trying. I know. I'm trying. Tell you what, this works.
There you are. Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So I can completely relate with this because I am very, very novice when it comes to social media and Instagram and Facebook. So my partners at Prashna Restores know this about me. I wouldn't know A from B of social media. Okay, so I need to be taken through the steps very, very slowly, like you would speak to a 5-year-old. I think my 7-year-old is faster, but
they all are. But yeah, I'm glad we finally fixed it and we're in
yes,
now.
we finally.
So let's go.
Yes, yes. So welcome again, a big warm welcome, and thank you all of those people who have been patiently waiting to hear from you, Dr. Deepa. Now I would like to reintroduce you. I had given your introduction. So guys, Dr. Deepa is a scientist and very interestingly a product developer for the leading brand Savlon, which belongs to the ITC group. And along with her amazing microscope skills in the lab with DNA sequence data and the bacterial cultures, she's also quite an avid home gardener, if I'm correct to say that, and quite a masala magician in her kitchen.
So the great thing about science, Bhavna, is that failures are a part of life. Science takes small steps at a time. So I think we're very comfortable with failure. So all those things that you said, they're good to hear. But every day has its challenges, whether it's the kitchen or the garden or the lab.
I am very, very sure about that. There's no two way. So before we go forward, Dr. Deepa, I would want you to tell our audiences out here, how does this profile combination of a scientist and a product developer really translate? As in, what goes on when you put these two things together? What really happens at the back end?
So ITC is great in the sense that it has allowed us scientists to really get to the root of the matter. So really there are two sides to it in my job, the way we go about developing products. On the one hand, there's really core science. So we try to understand what is the germ, the bacteria, what is the problem that we're really trying to solve. We do get to the bottom of it. We try to craft the best solution that there might be for it, keeping in mind what has been tried before by others. And we are extremely diligent about, ensuring that the product eventually that reaches the consumer delivers what it claims to. So we're very, very particular regarding the performance of the product. So that's the technical aspect of it. On the other hand, we're very, very clued in, or at least we try to be really clued in as to what the consumer is really seeking. So you can develop a fabulous product that nobody really has any use for. So we try not to do that. So I think what we really try very hard to do is to marry the two things. We try to marry technical excellence with a very tangible, practical solution for what the consumer is seeking. So I think being clued into what people out there want is a very, very core part of the job.
I think that's so important, right? So you would be quite an important key to this entire puzzle where science discoveries actually translate into everyday usable products, especially related to, when it comes to hygiene as a focus area, because I think the pandemic has made it very, very evident that cannot at any point of time, even when the pandemic becomes, we come out of the pandemic, you cannot give away these hygiene practices that you've adopted.
Absolutely. And I think you rightly said, I mean, if we, our present day memory is sort of clouded by the pandemic and the related hygiene practices. But if you can just wind the clock back a few years, I think hygiene has always been there. It's just been there in the background, but it's always been there. We all get extra cautious when we have vulnerable people in the house, when you have very old people, when you have a newborn baby. I think all our hygiene practices come to the
peak.
Fore, right? They're at absolute peak. So I don't think anybody out there needs to be educated about the importance of hygiene. Maybe I think we all need to just remind ourselves that these are simple things that we can follow that have a very, very tangible outcome in terms of our health and the family's health.
True.
on an average, just to give you some numbers, a child, because the immunity is developing, probably goes through 6 to 8 cold and flu infections a year. That's one every month, every other month. Adults probably half of that number.
Yeah.
But that really translates into a very huge number when you consider the entire country. Globally, I think the numbers are close to 400 million a year.
Yeah.
And, again, the current focus is on respiratory diseases. But that's just because of the times that we are in. Gastrointestinal diseases are probably an even bigger killer in the world. I said 400 million for respiratory illnesses. It's probably 4 billion for gastrointestinal illnesses.
Okay.
And we know this. I think all of us know that before you eat, you wash your hands. I think as far as hand hygiene is concerned, we all know. I think what we really need to sort of take notice of is surface hygiene. That's perhaps something that we think we're doing enough, but maybe we could do a little bit more.
Yeah, so true. In fact, I remember, Dr. Deepa, when we were in medical college, and when we would discuss flu as a problem that would be presented, the general understanding was very, very clear that there is no cure for flu. Okay, you can't cure it. The only way is to prevent it, and hand washing is your primary defense. Just keep washing your hands. And at that time, every time you would, educate a patient about it, and they'd be like, yeah, really, that's it. That's all I needed to do to not probably catch this cold or cough or upper respiratory tract infection. And today they understand, because it's just happened right in front of everybody. Today, everybody accepts it. So I think you've rightly said that bit, that it's just become very prominent right now. But you know what, Dr. Deepa, it would be very interesting to know, since you also work on the product side of the hygiene products, what is the general trend that really came out in the way people were using things or using these hygiene measures or these hygiene products, especially in COVID times? Was there something interesting that popped out?
Yeah, I think if you remember, even now it's a new disease, it's a new bug, it's a new virus, but all the more so in the early days last year. March, April 2020, I think most of us, you could call us, it could be experts, it could be layperson, it could be doctors. I don't think we knew exactly how it was spreading. But what you just said, Bhavna, those fundamental principles remain true, right? So it's a virus. At the end of the day, generally viruses behave very similarly. And so you have to take care of your personal hygiene and of your surroundings.
Right.
That was true at the start of the pandemic, and that's very much true even today. While the predominant mode of transmission may be through a droplet-based or an aerosol-based, through close contact, etc., I think there's a lot of evidence to show that these things can persist on surfaces. And as with any other disease, you could talk about flu, like you spoke about. You could talk about a highly infectious disease. I'm just trying to bring a parallel to SARS-CoV-2. Something that's as infectious as that, I think, would be chickenpox or measles. What did we do when a family member had chickenpox? The first thing we did was completely quarantine that person. So we're aware of this.
Yeah.
All of us are aware of this.
A lot of it is a cultural awareness passed on through generations. Without the scientific papers and without the media hype about it, these were just knowledge or information passed from generation to generation.
Absolutely. And now we have a scientific rationale for why that worked. But really, that's all you need to do. You need to quarantine. What did we do with his clothes? We took them and disinfected them in a bucket of sanitizer. So that's exactly what we need to continue doing with SARS-CoV-2 as well. The challenging part here is, I think there's a difference between cleaning and sanitizing. So when your hands are dirty, or when you think they're dirty, you've come in from outside, you've probably used the restroom, you think they're dirty, and therefore you give it a good scrub. Soap, if you don't have soap, sanitizer. The difficult part is that with surfaces, you see them as clean, and you think they're clean. All of us, of course, understand that germs are invisible. And so I think that's the real challenge, to understand that those surfaces are only clean. They're not sanitized.
Yeah. So true. But you know what? So when we were grappling with the, what is this disease? How does it spread? Every day there were newer informations coming out. It didn't just remain confined to surfaces. It didn't just remain confined to us. We were even concerned about how do we consume food? What do we do with the food that we have? How should the surfaces be cleaned? Is normal water enough? Should you actually have some sort of a disinfectant put into it? There were so many questions. Was it actually these kind of queries also that contributed to maybe the way you guys worked in the back end to create products?
Oh, absolutely. So, like you rightly said, there were everyday issues that people were facing,
Exactly.
right? So people weren't sure whether to step out. If you remember in the first lockdown, all of us were probably, just scared of even stepping out of the house.
True.
And then you needed supplies. So groceries came home, and then there was this whole trauma of, do I touch the groceries? What do I do?
I still remember those days.
Are they packed in paper? Are they packed in plastic? How do I clean that? So I think these early insights were very much part of our product development solutions.
Yes.
I think we were very cognizant of the fact that these were real, tangible problems that people were facing. And in fact, it was one of those insights that eventually got translated into the product Savlon Disinfectant Spray.
Right.
So the idea here was very, very simple. If you had deliveries are usually made in cartons. Cartons are usually cardboard.
Yes.
Now, you can't go around spraying a water-based product on a cardboard, right? It would just disintegrate. It's just not something that's amenable to water. And therefore, what's the next best disinfectant known to man really is alcohol. And so that's essentially what it is. Yeah. The great thing about alcohol is it's not harmful. It evaporates very, very quickly.
Yes.
It works in a very, very decent time frame. So 30 seconds to 60 seconds contact is what is required.
Right.
And it's such a convenient way. You don't have to touch the object. You simply spray all around it, ensuring sufficient contact. And there's a great deal of action there and a great deal of reassurance as well. So I think that was one of the very, very first sanitizing, disinfecting solution products that we designed in the early days of the pandemic. And I think it really, really was satisfying because it met a very, very core consumer need at that point of view. I think that need continues to be there today.
Yeah. Not just that, right? I mean, I think I remember after those months and months of using those sanitizers, the second concern that came in is what's happening to my skin. Okay. Are they being corrosive? Are they being gentle to my skin? So there must have been a lot of reiteration that keeps happening at the back end, right? So it must be quite an interesting time as a scientist and a product developer to match this requirement of the consumer together.
No, absolutely. What you're saying is absolutely right, Bhavna. In fact, as medical professionals, you guys probably use the most amount of sanitizers and soaps and disinfectants and so on. And they can't really be great for the skin. So yeah, you're right. So our inciting went through an iteration. Our product development went through an iteration. Right. Today, we now have a product in the market, which is a Savlon moisturizing sanitizer. You still have the core benefits of alcohol. However, you also have added skin benefits in this product. So yeah, it's been a cycle of iterations and learnings from consumers like the ones who have joined us here, really understanding what they need without sacrificing on the core need, which is really sanitizing and disinfecting.
I hope, guys, you are making note of these products. I am too, because I think I'm going to go purchase some of them. I didn't know about this moisturizing, sanitizer. So that sounds really interesting. For all those who are joining in and rejoining in for this conversation, I'm here with the lovely Dr. Deepa, who's representing one of our award sponsors, Savlon, the Restore Awards, which are going to be on the 11th of December. And Dr. Deepa, we really, really hope to have you as part of the team to come and view and witness, what this entire space is, or where this entire idea culminates into, because Savlon has been a great support and a great partner to us, and we look forward to a much longer association. We want these awards to grow and more recognition to come in for any person or any organization which is working in the field of health and wellness. I think it's high time health and wellness got its limelight too, besides just the hard work, right? So thank you guys for all of you being here. Dr. Deepa, would you mind telling us maybe something statistically? People love numbers. People love statistics. Anything statistically which could correlate to the hygiene of your home and the well-being of your family? Anything which...
No, I think it's very clear. I don't think, at least as scientists, we're really not questioning the data
Yes.
out there. So you can there are several studies that I can quote from that suggest, for example, that introduction of simple measures, not just hand hygiene. Hand hygiene is, of course, far more well established, started much earlier on.
Much earlier.
But even comparing, say, rural homes to urban homes, comparing
Yes.
homes with sick people to homes with where nobody's really sick, comparing old age homes to regular living surroundings. I think there's a lot of data out there saying that germs, especially bacteria and viruses, do tend to stay on surfaces for a fairly long period of time. They are invisible. Regular cleaning does get rid of some of them just by sheer friction. When you take a cloth and you wipe off the surface,
right.
Sure, I mean, you're definitely getting rid of some of them, but you're not getting rid of enough of them. So I think there are a lot of studies out there, for example, looking at real outcomes. You could look at pediatric cases of pneumonia. And you could show that there is fewer incidents, which translates to lesser absenteeism in schools. You could also look at countries which have implemented such hygiene measures, both personal as well as surface hygiene, showing reduction in Medicare expenditure and so on. So I think there's a huge amount of data there. If you were to just start looking at everyday objects in your homes, right? We have done our own studies as well. In fact, we have sampled our own homes as well.
Wow, that must have been fun.
No, it was revealing. It was revealing. So I'll tell you some of the things that I remember. Do you want to take a guess at which was probably, the terms of highest germ count? Which area in the house?
Which had the highest count?
Germ count. In which room? Do you want to take a guess?
Would it be your kitchens?
Yeah, absolutely.
Really? I mean, that is actually a one.
It's
go into the kitchen.
It's probably the one place which gets cleaned every day, right? In fact, people tend to clean it after every meal. But understandably, because you get fresh produce coming in, and the produce brings in the environment that it was grown in. So the kitchen is almost 3 to 4 times as dirty than the living room. It doesn't look dirty.
It doesn't.
But it's contaminated in that sense.
That's the one place you are very, very certain you're clean enough because you've done it
cleaned well.
3 times a day, 4 times a day, and you're very certain that must be the cleanest place. Wow, that's very interesting to know.
And in the kitchen, I think again the culprits were the kitchen sponge, the kitchen cloth.
Oh yes.
So I don't know if you guys have experienced over time when you sort of fail to discard a sponge that's due for discard. You can sense a little slime on it, right?
Oh yeah.
So that's really biofilm. So you have films of bacteria growing on that. Now that's those biofilms get very hard to dislodge and disinfect because it's basically strength and unity, right? You have hordes and hordes of bacteria that have sort of tied up together, formed a community, and that essentially is a biofilm. So that gets very, very hard to get rid of. You could also see this visible, invisible. You can also see this in the kitchen mixers. You can imagine the pieces between the blade are really hard to clean. Sorry. So I think within the home there's it's been revealing for us, and I'm sure it'll be revealing for all of us that an average kitchen is probably way dirtier than we think. And we do have products which are both cleaning and disinfecting. We sort of understood that cleaning the kitchen itself is a chore with all the grease and all that.
Absolutely.
So our products both clean, degrease, as well as sanitize the kitchen. So we have products in different formats. We have dilutable formats. We have direct-to-use sprays, which are very user-friendly. So I think these are some of the things that we could do without really changing your core habit too much. You're in the habit of cleaning your kitchen, use the right product is one way of looking at it.
As simple as that,
So,
I mean, guys, this is a revelation. I think a lot of people are going to go back to their kitchens and now have a look around from a very, very different perspective, that the space that and in fact, people wouldn't believe that because the kitchens are generally those confined spaces where only few members step in, right? Maybe the primary people who cook. everybody would assume it's the living room area because, the walk-ins out there keep happening throughout the day. So that's very interesting to know. Guys, your kitchen. Look after your sponges, your kitchen, those little areas that you forget, the bottom of your mixers and grinders. Now, if you want to really clean, those are the places that you have to look at. Now, before we end this very, very interesting interaction, Dr. Deepa, can you tell me just top three, hygiene protocols for your home, which you think would make the biggest impact in ensuring that your space becomes much safer and much more hygienic?
I think cleaning surfaces that are high-touch surfaces is extremely, extremely important.
Right.
Something like a kitchen countertop is just a really good breeding ground for bacteria, just because of all the produce and the meat and the seafood that comes in and it's prepared on the countertop in many homes.
Right.
So I think the kitchen is obviously a core area of your home. The food, it directly goes in, if you have uncooked food, salads, fruits, then that's all the more dangerous. So I think you really have to focus on your kitchen. Please do focus on your appliances, the microwave, the chimney, etc. So those are not necessarily surfaces that are cleaned very often. So there's a good chance that they accumulate germs over time, and over time it can be a real problem.
Yeah.
The other area that again I think maybe we could give a little more focus to are soft furnishings. So again, the sofas, the cushions, the carpets, rugs, drapes, it's just not feasible to clean these, on a daily, weekly basis.
True.
So I think this is again a great place where you can use an alcohol-based spray, because again, water is just not suitable for these soft furnishings.
Right.
So I think I would strongly suggest using those both in a situation, in an abnormal situation as well as in a daily situation. So an abnormal situation could be when you have extremes of age groups, infants and older people, or you have someone sick in the house. But on a daily basis as well, different people in the family have different immunity levels. So I think it's very, very important to do this regularly, because the longer you put it off, the harder it is to get
it off.
The sort of deep cleaning done, right? Deep cleaning is a terror for all of us, I think. And I think the third thing that perhaps could really, really help as far as home hygiene is concerned is to just maintain clean hygiene, in the sense that when you come into the house, you're really bringing in, be conscious of the fact that you're bringing in the external environment. I think the Indian culture is already well in the sense that, we leave our slippers outside. It does very well in that sense.
Yeah.
But also the clothes that you walk in with are potentially harboring germs that you've picked up from outside. Now, the important thing to remember is, as long as it doesn't spread to your body orifices, right? The way the germs get in, the skin is a great barrier.
Yeah.
The only way the germs can get in is, if you bring the germs to your eyes, nose, mouth.
Yeah.
Now, you can do that consciously, or you can do that unconsciously. For example, you walked in with your outside clothes and you've sat on a couch and you've got up and got your tea. In the interim, somebody else came on the couch and sat down, put their hands on it, right? And then the next minute they probably touched their face. It's very, very difficult to trace this route that the germ can take into your body, but it can do that very, very quickly. So I think personal hygiene, home hygiene, and then the clothes that you wear. I think these are all you can change into your home clothes if necessary. If you've been in a crowded setting, if you've been to a hospital, do disinfect your clothes with a laundry disinfectant. I think these are things that you can take care. Once it becomes a part of your daily habit, I think the benefits are going to be really tangible.
Yes. Dr. Deepa, you've given us some very, very practical and impactful points, and I would totally agree with them. Guys, the idea out here is not to make home hygiene or personal hygiene only a pandemic-related conscious effort. This is something which needs to become, it was earlier too, but just that emphasis and that, recollection and reiteration of these hygiene practices needs to be done. And what we shared here and Dr. Deepa has shared here with us are some very simple practical tips. If you take care of these 3 or 4 basic tips, your kitchen, your upholsteries and the soft furnitures in your house and your personal hygiene, I think you've taken care of 90% of routes of transmission probably for the germs to be in your environment. And I think that would simplify the fear that people are walking with right now, that what is it that I will do or not do that will put me back into the pandemic position. I think we need to let go of that fear and just use a little bit of common sense when we move through the process, right? Because I think in the end we cannot be living out of fear for a longer period. We need to just get okay with these small hygiene practices, as simple as that.
Completely agree, Bhavna. I think fear just paralyzes everything. So I think we've just got to equip ourselves with the understanding of what we can do to sort of mitigate the risk.
Yes.
The whole idea is to lower the risk as much as you can for your family.
Perfectly put. Thank you so much, Dr. Deepa. I know you have a very, very packed and busy schedule most days. And, I'm really grateful that you could take time out. And a big thank you to Savlon for ensuring that this interaction happens today and for being our partners for the awards. We look forward to seeing Savlon out there on the 11th of December. And it was really, really lovely interacting with you. All the best with all your wonderful work in the lab and with the Savlon team.
Thank you for having me, Bhavna.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
So guys, that was the lovely Dr. Deepa Murli, who is the lead scientist and product developer for Savlon at ITC. And I think this was just to make everybody feel less overwhelmed with how to manage your home hygiene and your personal hygiene, not just in the pandemic, but even moving forward. And I hope we've been able to create that impact. So thank you so much to everybody who has been here. A quick reminder, guys, we hope to see you on the 11th of December. Please follow the Rachna Restores handle. Please follow the Restore Awards handle to keep getting these beautiful updates of our lives, of our sponsored interactions, of our partner interactions. And we hope to continue seeing you with more such delightful sessions. It's been a wonderful evening. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.